Y'all know the deal. You know the drill, man. Hit that like and sub to the channel and hit them notifications too. Upon the NBA getting underway, uh, we've had opening night uh, the last two nights. There's been a lot of it's a mixture of different things, a combination of different things. It's been a lot of uncertainty. Um, there's been a lot of adaptation. Um, there's been a lot of anticipation. Okay, and also there's been a lot of anxiety too as well. All right, as well as excitement, as well as people not really knowing what to expect. I think I said that first, but yes, I'm going there. Okay, and we are going to talk about this situation now. I touched on it just a little bit when I was with the brother Cypress TV earlier and everything, but I kind of want to talk about this on a dolo tip. Okay, now Cooper Flag was heavily anticipated to be seen last night, and there were a lot of expectations that were through the roof. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, Cooper didn't show up, as well as the whole Dallas Mavericks team. You know, and uh, everybody wants to sit up here and they want to, put everything on Jason Kidd and all that other stuff. First off, they were shorthanded. Okay, uh, so let's just get that out of the way. And they were without Kyrie Irving, who probably is not going to return until somewhere around the lines of the playoffs. Like, we're looking at probably May. That's if they do happen to make the playoff. But I want to focus on this because when Bronny James when he stepped foot on the floor, okay, even though that Bronny James did not have an off season, okay, he was fresh from coming off of uh, a heart attack, pretty much. Okay, cardiac arrest, whatever you want to call it, right? And also, he barely even played any in college. Okay, being thrown into a like mid-season when all these guys were in mid-season form. Now look, I know what people are going to do. They're going to be like, well, you can't compare Cooper to Bronny James. That's not what I'm doing. But what I am going to say is the standard has to be looked at, because if you're going to hold Bronny to these extremely high expectations, okay, and you're going to call him trash, you're going to call him garbage, you're going to say this, everything, call Bronny everything but a child of God, and he's not even a number one pick, okay? He wasn't, heavily sought after, and a lot of people weren't really hyping him up like that, right? The only reason that they were talking about him was because of his pops, because of LeBron James. But you have a number one pick in Cooper Flag, okay, who everybody was making comparisons to this guy, that guy. You had some people that said Larry Bird, and I hate when people always try to they see a white cat that comes in they automatically think Larry Bird, or they automatically think Dirk Nowitzki, or they automatically think this guy. Look, listen, everybody that comes in that's white ain't gonna play like Larry Bird. Okay, that seems to be the most elementary, dummied down type of comparison that you can make. But Cooper Flag flat out did not show up. He played like boo boo. Okay, shoot, he better have been glad that he got double figures. Okay, because he was on the verge a long time for him coming with a donut. At one point, I think going into the second half, he didn't have no points. He only had 6 rebounds and was very ineffective the whole entire night. Okay, um, if we're gonna sit up here and we're gonna talk about Bronny James looking like a deer in headlights, running around like a chicken with his head cut off, looking helter skelter, we could say the same thing for Cooper. Cooper, the fact of the matter is, I'm not Cypress wanted me to get on here and say, oh yeah, well give him time, and it's still early in the season and all this other stuff. No, you had time. You had time. Uh, like Bronny James, you didn't have no heart attack, right? You played in college. Now you were injured, okay, and the reason why I do know that is because I am a Duke fan. Do do I think that Cooper Flag um, has potential? Yeah, he does. I also thought that Bronny James had potential too. I just said that he wasn't ready yet, and he wasn't ready for this type of this type of level yet. He needed to go to uh, overseas. That was my whole thing. Look, man. Yes, I'm going there because a lot of guys, they want to sit up here and they want to hype a guy up, and then when he doesn't play well and he doesn't show up, oh, they make all these excuses under the sun. Victor Wembanyama, he showed up his first game from the preseason into the season. Victor Wembanyama, he showed up. And matter of fact, Victor Wembanyama, he led the league in blocks his rookie year. And in Victor Wembanyama's rookie campaign, he was looked at as one of the front runners for possibly getting a Defensive Player of the Year award. He got cooked last night by a former number one pick in Victor Wembanyama. Okay, who everybody was still talking trash about, who everybody was saying, Victor Wembanyama, like I said earlier, they were saying he was clumsy, he was too light, he's too frail, he gets knocked around and all this other stuff. All it took was him getting acclimated into the league. And on top of that, you got to take this into consideration too. Victor Wembanyama is coming off of a blood clot issue. But he didn't make no excuses. He got right back in there into the gym. Now, we can sit up here and we can set all these high ass expectations for Cooper Flag. But please believe it, if he doesn't show up, don't say I did not tell you so. Okay? Because you sat up there. Everybody wants to sit up here and criticize Bronny James to death. They want to sit up here and say, oh yeah, he's trash, knowing damn well that Bronny is not ready for that level or whatever. But Cooper Flag, okay, in which I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna mention this too. Cooper Flag was talking shit to the same guy that dominated his first night in VJ Edgecombe with the Sixers. Okay? VJ Edgecombe, nobody really has been talking about him on here except for myself, the real true Sixers fans, and the brother Cypress TV, a Spurs fan. He has been quiet. Kid coming from Baylor. Only reason y'all probably knew about him is because he was in the tournament, unless you really follow hoops. But guess what? All the hype was surrounded on Cooper Flag. And guess what? He didn't show up. So yes, he has to be cooked. When Bronny James stepped foot on that floor, right? When he stepped foot on that floor, everybody was saying so much personal shit to him, as if this guy was a number one pick. As if this guy was coming out of college dominating. As if this guy was in high school dominating. Last time I checked, Cooper Flag was heavily sought out. They had been talking about Cooper Flag when he played up against the pros and the USA squad and all this other stuff. No, we got to hold him to the same standard. We got to hold him to the same standard. Now, I'm not gonna attack this from no black white type of thing. However, I will say this though. I guarantee you there's gonna be a whole bunch of people making a whole bunch of excuses. Talking about, oh yeah, he gotta get acclimated to the league, he gotta get used to this, and he gotta get used to that and all this other stuff. Listen, some people gonna be mad when I say this though. LeBron James, you know, as much as a lot of people don't like him, as much as you know, a lot of people are sick of him being here and ready for him to go ahead and exit the league and everything. LeBron James showed up his first game and had way more hype surrounded around him, and had way more expectations. And guess what? He fulfilled everybody's expectations that first night. He showed out. Cooper Flag had an opportunity to come in here, show people what he had. And on top of that, you were in front of your parents. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and go there because nobody held back when they were talking about Bronny James. Everybody was talking shit about him. You know, him fresh coming off of a cardiac arrest. You know, where the guy pretty much was unalive for a period of time and resuscitated him. Cooper Flag didn't have none of those issues. He was in there playing in the ACC. He was in there playing in the tournament. He was pretty much on national TV on all of his games. What's up with it, Stephen Green? I see you in the building. You said salute. The Mavs and the Spurs teams of the future. Cooper Flag going to get better. Flag is just no. I don't want to hear that shit. VJ Edgecombe is a rookie. But the thing about it is he's a number one pick. Victor Wembanyama, he was a number one pick. He showed up. Michael Jordan, number one pick. He showed up. Oh, well, Michael Jordan wasn't a number one pick. He was, I think Michael Jordan went third, if I'm not mistaken. But nevertheless, you see the similarities. Cooper Flag did not show up. He should have played better. I'm not making no excuses for him, Steven. Y'all didn't make no excuses for Bronny James. And Bronny James, y'all held Bronny James to a higher standard. Because why? Because, oh, you're a son of an NBA great. Yes, I'm going there. Do I believe that Bronny James belong in the league and all that other stuff? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm talking about the standards that you are holding these guys to. We got to hold Cooper to that high standard. VJ Edgecombe, he didn't have no problem. And nobody been talking about him. You talking about they're going to get better. Not with what I seen last night. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. At first, it looked good in the beginning when they was in the preseason and everything. I thought that it could be kind of a high-low. What's up with it, Alex? How you feeling, man? I know the Pistons took an L last night, but The Pistons, they just ran into a better Bulls team. You know what I'm saying? And I'll talk about the Pistons in a little bit. We got to talk about the Eastern Conference though. That Eastern Conference looking a lot better. But yeah, I still got faith in Cade Cunningham. Jaden Duran, though, you can't be grabbing just 6 rebounds. That's if you watch the game, Alex. I don't know if you watch the game and everything. But to get back to Cooper Flag and this Bronny James, comparing the two situations, y'all had all this hype surrounded by both, both of these players. And the reason why I'm going there is because I think that it's unfair. It's unfair. It's not unfair for them to criticize it. It's fair for them to criticize Bronny James, and it is fair for them to criticize Cooper. But it has to be fair game. Like I said, you can't sit up here and say, "Oh, well, give this guy time." I'm talking about Cooper. You can't sit up here and say, "Give this guy time." Oh, he hasn't got acclimated yet. Oh, it's his first game. All this other stuff. No, I don't want to hear that shit. You were number one pick. You were number one pick for a reason. People want to see what you got. People were, hyping you up, doing the great white hype shit like they usually do. I don't want to hear that shit. Oh yeah, they're gonna get better. It's just one game. They said the same thing about Bronny James. Oh, he gonna get better. It's just one game. All this other stuff or whatever, or give him time and stuff like that. Then at the same time they were saying, "Oh, he's trash. He's garbage. He doesn't belong in the league," and stuff like that. Nah, we got to say the same thing about Cooper. If you a number one pick, my expectations are going to be locked on you. And on top of that, you played in prime time, Steven and Alex. You played in prime time. All these eyes were focused on you. You're a number one pick. You should be used to this. That's what you're going to get every single night. If you're a number one pick, okay? If you're a number one pick, that's just like, the situation when we often talk about the brother Kwame Brown. Shout out to him. Salute to him. There were expectations on Kwame Brown. And then guess what? Because of a narrative that they were pushing, and maybe he didn't pan out like people thought that he would. Guess what? Then they ended up labeling him a bust. But guess what? He lasted 10 plus years in the league. He was able to put in for retirement. Sometimes it takes years for a player to develop. NCAA and pro are two different worlds. Yeah, we do. We know that. But see, my point is though, Stephen Green, what I'm trying to tell you and tell everybody else is that we have to hold him still to the same standard. If you're gonna sit up here and you're gonna criticize a guy that has no business in the NBA, and I'm talking about Bronny James, and he's being rushed and put pressure on by a guy that has the ego bigger than this whole stratosphere, then we need to go ahead and we need to put the same hold Cooper to the same standard because he wants to play the game. He was talking shit to VJ Edgecombe. He was talking shit to all the and listen, you gotta have a little chip on your shoulder. You gotta, people are gonna come at you. But if you're gonna talk, you better back that shit up. People were excited. They had expectations. They were wanting to see you go at Victor Wembanyama. Everybody don't play like a number one pick. That one hype mess up college players. I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. And some guys can't handle that type of pressure. Um, he has to understand that Dallas is a big market. I'm over here. There, a lot of people are sitting up here criticizing Cooper Flag. They were disgusted about what they seen last night. He was in front of a lot of guys too. I saw Marcus Spears. I saw his face. You know, his son is heavily hyped too as well. There were a lot of people in attendance last night. And Steven, last time I checked, you said Dallas was going to show up. You said Dallas. You've always been on the Mavericks. The Mavericks, just from looking at them right now, they're not going to be a playoff team, man. You got a rookie that does not know what he's doing. Now I could see if let's put it like this, right? If Cooper Flag would have came out with a strong 15 points, he was a monster on the rebounds. he was solid defensively. He made some key stops, and on top of that, maybe hit some key shots down the stretch, and the game was close. And on top of that, they possibly could have got out of there with a win. Okay, we would be having a different conversation about him, because it wouldn't be about points. It would be more so about his contribution. Was I looking for Cooper Flag to score 20 or some shit like that? No. But what I was looking for is, do you show potential that you can adapt to where you at? You said Mavs, AD, Kyle, Lively, good team. No, they're not, man. They're not right now. And on top of that, they don't have Gafford. You clearly see that the Mavs have dropped off, man. Thompson, I mean, could have played a lot better. I don't know. I don't know if he focused on Megan Thee Stallion or whatever the case is, but I would have liked for Klay Thompson to play a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you had to come out strong. You had to come out like Houston Rockets. They had a lot of expectations. Look at the Houston Rockets, who were shorthanded. They don't have Fred VanVleet. And look at the Dallas Mavericks, Steven. The Houston Rockets didn't come out flat. And guess what? They were playing out of position. You had a guy in Amen Thompson that clearly was not a point guard. But guess what? There were no excuses. Next man up mentality. And on top of that, you got to adapt to the situation. That's what I was talking about, adaptation. So like I said, I'm going to hold these guys to the same standard. Cooper Flag, he going to continue to get cooked. If ain't nobody else going to cook him throughout the LDBC, guess what? You're going to get cooked over here if you don't show up. You said Houston is a better team than the Mavs. Of course. They're longer. they're more scrappy. You know what I'm saying? They play with more heart and they play with more aggressive. Houston never let the game get away from them. They just lost in the end because of ill-advised fouls and some ill-advised decisions too. The decision making, you could see the youth towards the end of the game. I mean, both teams were young, but you saw the inexperience in them. But I think the Houston upside is way better than Dallas, even considering that they don't have all of their personnel. But to get back to Cooper and to get back to comparison with Bronny James and stuff like that, I have to talk about this. Some guys ain't gonna like this, and that's cool. You don't have to agree with me, but what I will convey to you is this: don't sit up here and you're judging a guy who, in Bronny James, who clearly is not a number one pick. Bronny James didn't come in hyping himself up. he was being hyped up uh, by the media and because of his father and stuff like that, which I've always said and I've stood on this, it's unfair to him. We knew damn well that he did not belong in the league or whatever. Okay? And he belonged either playing a couple more years of college or going overseas. And I still stand on that. He needs to go overseas for a couple years. Cooper Flag, he looking like to me he could use some overseas work. Yes, I'm saying it after one game. VJ Edgecombe, he played like a top pick. There were no problems with Brandon Miller coming in there. He played like a top pick. Anthony Edwards, he showed up. Edwards was a little out of control, but you see now, Edwards, him playing, him adapting to the league and him maturing right before our eyes, and also him doing the studying in the offseason is starting to pay off for him. Zion Williamson, as much as you might not like Zion Williamson, guess what? Zion showed up. I'm talking about top picks. I'm not going to sit up here and, oh yeah, he was a number one pick. We got to give him time and all this other stuff. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Because now, y'all want to get microwave. Y'all want to be a microwave society. You want shit quick, fast, in a hurry. You want Bronny James to already be playing like he done been there 5 years in the league. Well, hell, we're going to get at the Cooper Flag. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same shit. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to be like, look at VJ Edgecombe. He had time. Had the same amount of time in the offseason as Cooper Flag. He didn't have no problem making a historic night, putting up 34 points, being able to smash LeBron James' debut, being able to be the third player in franchise history to put up that many points. No excuses, man. No fucking excuses whatsoever. Now, does he have a potential upside? That remains to be seen. Because when you're in a situation, man, like what the Mavericks in, they're coming in shorthanded. They don't have Kyrie. You started off with a loss. You got a guy in AD that's clearly frustrated and stuff. That sometimes can work against you. You know what I'm saying? That could work against you. Salute to the brother Lemon Pepper Lou. Make sure you go sub to Lemon Pepper Louisville. Salute to you, man. So like I said, y'all want to sit up here and say that Bronny James is trash and he don't know what he's doing. He look helter-skelter. We can say the same thing about Cooper. He looked awful last night. Victor Wembanyama cooked the entire Dallas Mavericks front line. He cooked the perimeter guys as well too. He was getting it in a multitude of ways. He was getting it. You said Jason Kidd lost his mind starting flag at point. That's the thing, man. That's another thing too. There's no business that Cooper Flag has playing point guard. He's not point guard savvy. Hell, Victor Wembanyama plays a better point guard position than what he would. Victor Wembanyama has a better understanding of the game, Lou. Victor Wembanyama knows the pick and roll. Victor Wembanyama knows how to move out on the perimeter. Victor Wembanyama can run in transition. Victor Wembanyama is starting to develop back to the basket. Victor Wembanyama knows how to cut. Victor Wembanyama has nice timing. He has great feel for the game. Cooper looks like he doesn't have any feel for the game. You said he may win MVP. That remains to be seen. You got Shea Gilchrist Alexander, who pretty much knows how to finish in the clutch. You had Ant-Man last night, knows how to finish in the clutch, starting to develop that back to the basket game. Still explosive. But Victor Wembanyama, he's making a case. I've been talking about Victor Wembanyama. Me and a couple of other guys been on the island by ourselves talking about Victor Wembanyama. But I sat up here and I got criticized and all this other stuff for me saying that this guy is gonna he's gonna be something. But like I said, you said remember he worked with Kevin Garnett in the offseason. Yeah, he worked with Kevin Garnett in the offseason. You got to go check out my earlier stream, Lou. Make sure you go check out the earlier stream. That's what I talked about. He worked out with Kevin Garnett, worked out with Hakeem Olajuwon. Other guys in the San Antonio Spurs been working with him too. Of course, you know, Duncan and Robinson. He worked out with Rashad Lewis. Rashad Lewis was right there with Victor Wembanyama or whatever. You saw Rashad Lewis last night. You know, you're going to be seeing a lot of Victor Wembanyama. Listen, this guy right here, he's something scary to the league. And everybody wants to sit up here and talk about his height. He's 7'4" and all this other stuff. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Ralph Sampson was tall as fuck too. It's just that Ralph Sampson, due to injuries or whatever, he his career got cut short. Victor Wembanyama could pretty much do everything. Shaq up in here talk about, oh yeah, he need to get stronger. He need to play more physical. Well, that's what he's doing. He's going to the paint with ferociousness. You know? Not quite 7'7". They gonna say that. He probably about 7'5". He ain't 7'7" yet, man. He ain't quite 7'7" yet. He grew a couple of inches. He grew like an inch or two, but nah, man, he's still about 7'5". They give you a couple of inches in the league, Lou. But I could be wrong. You never know, man. Let's. They would have to go ahead and officially measure him. I know when they were saying that when he went to China, but I just don't see it. I still see about 7'5". Of course he is, and you know everybody. You know they went on a tirade saying how Joel Embiid pushed him around and dominated him and stuff like that. I'm like, give him a year or two. Yeah, hell, just give him a year. Now look at him, Victor Wembanyama. Yeah, he put on some weight. The guy for his size has tremendous footwork. You could tell he has been working with Hakeem Olajuwon. People want to know why I got Hakeem as my starting center. One of the reasons is because he has incredible footwork. I know you saw it, man. How you like VJ Edgecombe? He nice, ain't he? Yeah, he nice. Like I said, we are going to cook this season, Lou. We are going to cook. VJ Edgecombe, Maxey, we got Grimes. Man, we got a squad, man. We got a squad. Joel Embiid, though, he don't have his legs up under him. He's going to be on minutes restriction. Well, here's the thing, Lou. You got to understand this. Joel Embiid is not. First off, he's not in basketball shape. Okay, you might see all that stuff in the preseason and him being out there in the gym and stuff like that, but that's not truly basketball shape. He's not in the shape like he was when he was able to play 60 plus games. But What is that from? That's from you constantly sitting down. That's from you doing more sitting than playing. That's from you constantly being hurt. You're hardly out there. Joel Embiid, of course, people are going to say that he looks old. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and cook Joel Embiid because here's the thing, Lou. I've cooked Joel Embiid, on my channel for years. The only thing that I'm going to say is I'm glad that he was out there. He could have been like, you know what, I'm going to sit down. I was expecting him to sit down. No. And on top of that, guess what? I like the fact that he was cheering on VJ Edgecombe. That shows maturity. Listen, Joel Embiid don't have that much time left. If you look at his overall body, don't look at his age. We know that he's only 31 years old, 30 years old or something like that. But if you look at his body and what he put his body through, the injuries and stuff like that, he's maybe 40 years old. No selfish basketball. Yeah, exactly. I like what we're doing. I like what we got brewing. Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse, he was very hard on himself. We got to understand Nick Nurse, whether you like it or not, Nick Nurse is a champion. Then on top of that, I like the role that Kyle Lowry is playing. Kyle Lowry, it pretty much is a coach. I can see Kyle Lowry being on that staff in Philly because Kyle Lowry is a winner. He's a motivator. He's a leader. And he actually knows the X's and O's of basketball. Now, was he like super talented, like a Chris Paul or John Stockton? I'm talking about point guards, or Isaiah Thomas. No, but he played with heart. Everybody act like Kawhi Leonard was the one that was at the forefront of them winning that Rockets championship. No, he wasn't. But hey, look, guys, I got to get up out of here. Make sure y'all go sub to the homie Lou, Lemon Pepper Lou. Um, like, share, subscribe, hit them notifications too. Straight to the point. I'm out.